Hey everyone, welcome back to The Real Change. So today we are here to take a look at Springleaf Residences, not the prata, right? I cannot, it's very forced. Hi everyone, welcome back to The Real Change. So today we are here to discuss a little bit about Springleaf Residences, not Springleaf Prata. It's a 941 unit development coming up in District 26, which might just be the cheapest mega launch this year. We're here to look into the site plan, floor plan analysis, pricing, and using the ELA framework to analyze whether this is a project that's worth buying in comparison to all the new launches coming up this year.
The official preview is on 1st of August, but we've already gotten a sneak peek into the show flat, and I must say it's quite a unique project. But before we begin, do remember to like and subscribe, as this would help us a lot in the algorithm. Okay, so let's go through the project overview of Springleaf Residence. It's originally Upper Thomson Road Parcel B, which is slightly larger plot than Parcel A, leasehold 99 years, 5 blocks of 25 stories, and 1 conservation building of 4 stories, with a total of 941 units. It is developed by Coco Land, and other notable projects include Midtown Modern, Lentor Mansion, and Lentor Hills Residence. So just for some background, the Upper Thomson Road Parcel A plot was actually open for tender first, but it closed with no bids from any developers. So the good thing is that Springleaf residents will have first mover advantage. And another thing to take note is that this area over here in the URA master plan, which was previously zoned under yellow, subject to detailed planning, has now changed to orange color, which is zone residential. So you can see the government is planning to build more residential in this Springleaf area, similar to the Lentor rejuvenation if you are familiar. And I think we should expect greater demand and amenities in this Springleaf area as it is developed. So now we go into the location map. What is unique about Springleaf Residence is that it is surrounded by greenery on 3 sides of the development, and on the right you have a landed enclave. So it's very peaceful and quiet, and it's rare to find this in Singapore, which is being a concrete jungle. Also, if you are on a high floor, maybe above 15 stories, once you can clear the canopy, you can even get views of Upper Seletar Reservoir. And just to show you what reservoir views can look like at sunset, this was from one of our clients' home at Faber Gardens, which is really, really beautiful. But you might be thinking, if Springleaf Residence is surrounded by forest, is it very ulu and inconvenient? Actually, no, because you are just 2 minutes walk from Springleaf MRT with a fully sheltered walkway from your doorstep to the station. And you can enjoy direct access to Orchard Road, the CBD, Woodlands, and East Coast in just a single train ride. And it's also next to Seletar Expressway, the SLE, and the upcoming North-South Corridor, which gives you really great access to the city. You also have your Upper Thomson cafes, just a 10 minutes drive away. So zooming into the site plan, this 941 unit mixed development will feature 1 to 5 bedroom layouts, full condo facilities including a tennis court, a 50-meter lap pool, and even a pet's play lawn if you are a pet owner. So the development will have 5 blocks of 25 stories, including a conservation block to add some historical charm. Also, just a fun fact, this conservation block was actually previously a school, and they have also retained the running track as part of the landscape.
So now let's look at the floor plan and the unit mixes. So for the unit mix, we have basically from 1 bedroom all the way up to 5 bedroom, but this is segregated into the conserve building as well as the 5 high-rise towers. So for the conserve building, you can see we have 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, which later we'll compare the floor plans accordingly. And for the high-rise, we have from 2 bedroom, 2 bed, 1 bath, all the way up to 5 bedroom. Okay, so for the floor plans wise, so the first one we're looking at is the 1 bedroom classic in the conserve building site plan, right? So for this one, for the conserve building, there's no balcony because basically they're going to reuse the old layouts out of the conserve school. So there's no balcony over here, but you can see in terms of the size, it's slightly bigger than the typical 1 bedroom because you have a 3-meter living wall to wall as well as a 2.78 meters by 3.2 meters for a master bedroom. So it's pretty sizable and it's pretty standard, I think, overall in terms of the kitchen, open concept kitchen. Just again, like I mentioned, no balcony, much bigger living. 2-bed 1 and the 2-bed 2 is something that we have actually seen very successful layouts that Coco has used previously in Lentor Mansion. So just to take note, most of these layouts are very, very similar to Lentor Mansion, and Lentor Mansion actually did very well. 75% sold in the first day of launch. Two big one, I think is pretty standard. We're looking at a 2.8 meters living wall to wall, right? All these I would say, is very, very spacious compared to some of the launches that we've seen in the more recent months. Open concept kitchen, this is pretty standard. The 2 bed 2 646 square feet. Just to reiterate, for the floor plans wise, this is a GFA harmonized one. That means all the aircon ledges are non-strata, right? That means it's not included into the floor space itself. So 646 square feet for a 2 bed 2 bath is pretty sizable, very comfortable. It's a very squarish living dining. We have bedrooms on each side, both are ensuite, right? The kitchen will be semi-enclosable if you were to close off from the walkway side. Then lastly, the 2 bedroom classic. This one again, we have the much sizable 3.1 meters living for the 2 bed, very similar to what we see of the 2 bed 2 bath. But the entrance way is a lot broader, so I think in terms of space is a lot more luxurious. And for the conserve building, just to note, it's only up to 4 floors. Lastly, the smallest 3 bedroom, 786 for a 3 bedroom is very, very efficient. The downside for this layout, however, is that for 3 bedrooms, usually we're looking at families. They would probably want a bomb shelter or storeroom, utility room. So this one does not have any of that. It's also an open concept kitchen, which I would say may not be the most desirable layout. Yeah, and it has a semi-dumbbell kind of layout where 1 bedroom is on one side, the other 2 bedrooms are on the other, right? So if you're looking for an efficient, as low priced 3 bedroom as possible, this might tick a lot of boxes. But if you're looking at the resale market, this honestly might not fare the best. Okay, which leads us nicely into the two other 3 bedrooms. So this one is actually something very nice because we have the L-shaped walkway. So this ensures a bit of a privacy for you in terms of your neighbors cannot really look inside into your living itself, right? You're walking into a dry kitchen, a wet kitchen, and you have a flexi. So this flexi can be a study, can be a utility room, can be a helper's room, right? So this flexibility is definitely one of the main reasons why Lentor Mansion did so well, right? In terms of living room, we're looking at 3.1 meters wall to wall, which is still pretty nice. I think it's pretty large kind of a living that we are more used to seeing in the other areas. Usually we're looking at maybe closer to 2.9 meters in the RCR area. So this is again something that you get in the outside central region, where you get bigger space and of course much more affordable pricing. So this 3 bedroom will be at 904 square feet, right? Lastly, the biggest 3 bedroom at 1023 square feet. You have a 5 square meter balcony over here. Same thing, you have an L shape. This is something unique that we have also seen in Lentor Mansion, where they have a bathroom in the bigger layouts coming into the doorway, right? We tend to talk about it a little bit, but I think end of the day, having an extra WC for your helper, having the extra toilet, the third bath when you come into the house is something most buyers actually like. Okay, so for this one, it's basically a 3 bed 3 bath, right? 1, 2, 3, master bath, bath number 2, and bath number 3. You also have the bomb shelter and the flexi room. So this one is definitely going to be the most comfortable. And later in the price matrix, you can see this basically starting from probably around the 2 million mark, which is something very, very comfortable and affordable in terms of ease to upgrade for HDB owners. I think this will be something will definitely sell out. Lastly, we have the 4 bedrooms. So 4 bedrooms, you have a very, very long 9.35 meters living and 3.2 for the width. So this is definitely very grand and very luxurious. Similarly, we have the dry and wet kitchen. As you can see, we don't really have a yard area. So this is definitely one of the drawbacks. But of course, you have an extended balcony for this. You still have the bomb shelter in the wet kitchen, which is pretty standard, right? For this one with the 4 bedrooms over here, they actually put the bedroom 2 on the other side. What this means is that you have a much shorter walkway, and again a little bit more efficient and usable space within the house. So for 1227, again not including the aircon ledge, is very, very big, very comfortable, and very squarish. Everything is very, very nice and efficient. For the balcony, actually this we're starting to see some of the newer launches in recent months starting to include the bedroom and the living to have this balcony. I don't necessarily like it, but again, some buyers might prefer this because in terms of the balcony size, it looks a lot bigger and a lot more comfortable, right? And you also have the flexibility to hack down this wall and combine into a massive 5.5-meter living if you want. Then lastly, the master bedroom. So master bedroom has a walk-in wardrobe, walk-in closet. I personally really love this wardrobe by each side. I find it very efficient, very comfortable when you walk in. Don't really have to fight and shoulder to shoulder with your partner to get closet and clothes in the morning before you rush off to work. Okay, then lastly, we're looking at the 5 bedroom. So 5 bedroom wise, very, very typical. We have 4 bedrooms on one side and a junior master on the other. So this is a very, very nice layout that I personally like. The drawback here is that the living room actually is only 3.2 meters for wall to wall. So what that means is that if you can see the show flat, basically you might potentially have to hack out one room to extend into a 5.8-meter living room for wall to wall, so it makes it look a lot grander. But again, you are looking at a very big space with a 7.8-meter length. Coming in, this is exactly the same layout that we see in the Tom mentioned. You come in from here, you see the bomb shelter and the bath for before proceeding into the wet kitchen. And there's also windows on this side, so it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of flexibility if you want to put a 10-seater kitchen, 10-seater dining, let's say, in the living and dining area, right? Master bedrooms, very, very big, very, very nice. Again, I like this walk-in closet on each side with a very nice glass opening, right? Then again, very short walkway over here because they put bedrooms on each side of the walkway. So lastly, we have the 3 bedroom classic, 1119 square feet as well as 1259 square feet. So this 1119 square feet 3 bed classic will all be at the conserve building. So the first 3 bedroom does not have any balcony over here. So it will be direct access coming in, so no wasted space for the L shape. As you can see, you get a very sizable living dining. The bathroom tree is right very close to the main door coming in, right? And also it does not have any windows. So I think this layout might not be the most attractive because the living is directly connected into the master bedroom, which usually what that means is that you have a little bit less privacy. Then the bedrooms will be a little bit more inside, a little bit more privacy into the 2 and the 3 bedroom. For kitchen wise, I think it's pretty good actually. You have an enclosable kitchen or 2 double galley, 2 tabletops, as well as a service yard. So this really reminds me of a very typical kind of 4-room HDB kind of layout. But of course, size-wise, it's a lot bigger. The master bath is situated right at the corner, which is pretty nice. But the main door entry from the master facing the master bath might not always be the best in terms of feng shui, right? And there's only one walkway in for both door entries. Okay, then lastly, the 3 bedroom classic, 1259 square feet. This includes a 20 square meter mega balcony, right? So I think again, this might not be the most attractive in terms of layout, but you can understand why, because usually for conserve buildings, developers have a limitation of how they can try to design around what is given to them, right? So for the main door coming in, it's an L shape, so a little bit of privacy, a huge living dining over here, right? Kitchen wise, you have a kitchen and also a yard, so that might be quite a good thing, right? Then coming in will be bedroom 3, bedroom 2 on each side, and then the master bedroom with the walk-in closet. So actually, apart from the balcony itself, everything else I pretty like. I think it's pretty squarish, very efficient. There may be families with maybe pets or kids that they want to keep just within the house, then this might be something you can consider. Of course, with zip track nowadays, you can kind of close off the balcony area and maybe extend to a study. That's also possible. But again, with the attractive price point, this layout might work. Okay, so before we move on over here, I just want to touch on a little bit on ELA, right? So we are trying to compare the pricing and the value proposition, whether it's something that it's worth buying or not. So ELA basically means entry price, livability, and appeal. So using the ELA framework, let me run through with you why I will not buy Springleaf Residences. So number one, the most important is definitely schools. There is no schools within 1 or even 2 km of Springleaf Residence. So for development that's supposed to be touted for families with a lower entry price to allow you to buy a bigger unit, without a school, I think in terms of the livability, it definitely suffers a little bit, because the nearest school that we can find is actually Paying, which is a Paying Primary, which is at Yishun, right? You have Mayflower, Anderson Primary, and also CHIJ St. Nick's, all about 1 to 2 MRTs away. So in terms of the commute, I think the parents will have to suffer a little bit and have to drive the kids to school every day, which may not be the easiest. And also in terms of the demand, without a school, which is one of the main reasons why we see parents or owners moving from their place of stay to a certain area, there is a little bit of an impact in terms of the demand into this Springleaf residence. Secondly, also another livability reason, it's right next to the highway, so there will be you expect quite a bit of highway noise from the SLE, Seletar Expressway. Of course, we do understand that there will be some measures to try to reduce the noise, but end of the day, just being next to the expressway with heavy traffic, you do expect quite a little bit of vehicle noise, whether it be the daytime or the nighttime, because SLE is quite a busy expressway. Then lastly, monkey business. Being so close to the nature reserve and reservoir, you do expect a little bit of the incumbents to come in, right? So one of the measures they do try to take, I think, against monkeys is they have a slanted ledge for the level 1 units to discourage climbing, right? They also try to reduce the tall vegetations within 6 meters of the tower block to prevent any animal entry. There's also a 2-meter solid wall between the development and the forest for wildlife separations. So these are some of the things that, again, the developer already expected to happen. So they are also trying to reduce, but at the same time, it won't be a surprise because even we do see condos near the upper Bukit Timah area, Bukit Timah Reserve. They also have visitors on and off. Some of the landed ones even have monkeys coming in, stealing their food from the kitchen. So with these 3 reasons, maybe these are some of the objections I do expect buyers to have. So how about the reasons why I will buy Springleaf Residences? I think the first one is definitely the proven track record of Guaco Land and their success in the Lentor Township area. As you know, just further down south in Lentor, there's a new township where you're looking at about 7-8 plots that has already been launched, all coming up a few more plots. And we have already seen something very, very similar to Springleaf, both in terms of layout and design. Right. So for Guaco Land, they have already shown their success with Lentor Mansion, with 75% sold on the very first day of launch. So we are actually seeing most of these elements replicated in Springleaf. Near the MRT, very efficient layout as well as very affordable entry prices. So I do expect a lot of upside potential. If let's say you're looking into this area, a 3-bedder here is a lot more affordable, which later I'll compare a little bit more with the nearby newer and resale condo prices. So second reason definitely is the MRT. Being just 100 plus meters away from MRT, barely 2 minutes, fully sheltered walkway will definitely bring in a lot of tenants as well as future buyers who want to stay right next to the MRT at this kind of affordable prices. I'm a firm believer of meeting the correct entry price. Of course, there will be things that, as I mentioned, you'll be foregoing. For example, you don't have the schools nearby, you're facing a little bit of highway noises. But if you pick the right units, this can actually help you in the future, because in the future we will be very hard to see prices at 1009 or 2000 PSF in the future that is right next to the MRT. Right, a similar condo will be like Hillock. Right, they also done tremendously well for themselves because they are right next to the MRT. And honestly, a lot of Singaporeans, they enjoy the MRT access and the convenience of Thomson East Coast Line. Another important factor is also we're expecting a lot of HDB upgrader demands, exactly what we've seen in Lentor, because looking at its location, it's still further more central than District 19. So where can all these HDB upgraders go? Right? Usually they'll look for something more central, but if price and budget is an issue, they'll look somewhere a little bit closer, which then is where the Lentor and Springleaf currently is located at. Yeah. So lastly will be the appeal. I think in terms of the layout, in terms of the facade, it looks very interesting. There is a conservation element that they're trying to pull into Springleaf itself, and more importantly, 941 units with full condo facilities. So I definitely think that Springleaf Residences will sell very well.
So what's the final verdict? If you are a homeowner or investor looking for value near MRT with affordable entry price in the OCR, you might want to seize this opportunity, as there will be not many OCR launches left for the rest of 2025, as most of them will be focused in the CCR region.
So if you want to have the early bird pricing or more details regarding the site plan, floor plan, you can always contact us here or comment Springleaf right below in our comments.
If you want to see more insider reviews, remember to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!